Thank you, Jamie. Very glad to be here. My name again is Jason Cutter. So excited to be a part of the Training Tuesday for SunPower. And today's webinar, we're going to go through how will referrals benefit your solar business. Now, everybody knows that referrals are powerful. And as we go through this, a lot of this won't necessarily be a surprise, but it's about how this solves many of the issues that solar companies are facing now and in the immediate future. So what we're going to cover for today is challenges for solar companies, what other companies are doing about them, the benefits of referrals, and then, of course, because of what we do, it's where Get the Referral fits in with the referral strategy and system. All right, so let's talk about solar sales company challenges. Now, I'm not going to go through all of these, but as you look through this list, you can see we've compiled a lot of the ones that we've seen. We've started out initially in solar. So Jamie's background is in solar, having a solar company, and then moving towards this platform to solve his own issues, and then also to get in this, which we'll talk about later. But we know from over 4 years of dealing with hundreds and hundreds of solar companies, the type of challenges that come into play when you're doing solar sales. And whether it's the sales itself, the installation, but you can see here, we've got everything from recruiting new reps and training salespeople to getting them to close deals to the marketing to lead generation. Then you have profit margin, you got licensing, you've got cash flow, you've got service calls. There's the tax credit changes, which we'll talk about. All of this comes into play and can create a lot of many challenges for a solar company. And obviously every business, every company and industry has challenges. That's obvious when you do business. However, solar seems to have many unique challenges that come into play that many other businesses don't. So as you look through this list, obviously identify ones that you can relate to that are affecting your business now, and then obviously think about that as we go through this and talk about referrals and how that can solve some of these. Now, if we take that list of challenges and what we've seen over the years for solar companies, it breaks down into a few main categories that pretty much every company we've talked to experiences. The first, if we look at it, is sales related. So one of the biggest challenges, whether it's solar or any sales-based company, is that salespeople don't like change. So when you're trying to roll out a new program, a new platform, new structure, system, rules, even leads, requirements, anything that you want them to do, your sales team will resist it. Most people don't like change, but there's something about salespeople that is especially prone to not liking change and not liking rolling things out or following through with the things that you need them to do as a business. Now, we talked to so many owners who just wish they could get their salespeople to do what they tell them to do, but they're just constantly struggling and fighting up against that, which is challenging, especially you're running a business where sales is the backbone of the revenue generation. You need salespeople. It has to be consultative. It has to be one-on-one in their home mostly, and you need the salespeople to do what they do best, but sometimes you have to roll out things, and there's a challenge with getting them to follow through. Second one is salespeople don't follow up with their leads and may not ask for referrals. So if you're running a sales business and you're giving them leads, you're handing them leads, you're paying for marketing that's generating appointments, whatever that is, then you need them to close those deals. A lot of times, if you're giving salespeople more and more appointments or leads, or they've got enough to do, then they're not going to follow up with their leads they haven't closed. Whichever ones they didn't close on the spot, then they may just ignore or forget those ones or not care. It's too much work. They don't want to follow up. They don't want to be rejected, so they're just moving on. And then when it comes to asking referrals, most salespeople don't. There's a challenge with salespeople who generally, in most times, and obviously your company could be different with the culture you have, and maybe they're on board and maybe they do ask referrals. We see that a lot as well. However, most of the time, salespeople are thinking about today. They're thinking about the deals they can close today, this week, this month. How can they affect their next check they're going to get, their next commission check? And they're not thinking out 6 months, 12 months down the road, what it would look like if they were asking for referrals, if they were generating referrals, and if they were just mostly closing deals and going to appointments, based on referrals. They're not thinking long-term. Most don't. And so when you want them to ask for referrals because you as a business owner is thinking long-term and you're projecting out what it would be like to cut down on your marketing and have a referral-based business that's driving your revenue, you see that vision. The salespeople are thinking today and today only. They're hunting, they're not farming. And so that can be a challenge. Next, let's talk about marketing related challenges for companies. There's cost per lead and cost per acquisition. And so if you're in solar and you're buying either leads or you're buying phone calls or you're buying appointments that then have to be confirmed and you go on those, there's a cost for every single one of those instances where whether it's a lead, and we see anything from $40 to $100 a lead. We see $200, $300 for appointments. I mean, all of our clients tell us different numbers that range. Sometimes it's just form fills off of websites and they're calling on those. So you have a cost per lead. And then what happens is you have a cost per acquisition, which a lot of solar companies don't look at or analyze that just because they're not focused on those numbers. But it's really important to take your cost per lead and then your closing rate and figure out what in marketing costs it costs you to acquire a brand new client. Again, if you're paying $200 an appointment and you close 1 in 5, that's $1,000 cost per acquisition. And so it's costing you $1,000 in marketing, not including commissions and anything like that, but it's costing you $1,000 in leads. We see things ranging from $500 to $4,000 in cost per acquisition, which of course is going to make a challenge for your company depending on your profit margin, your sales reps closing, who's closing well and who's not. And so this can be an issue. Then you've got the challenge on the marketing side with competition from other companies who are also buying leads. When basic supply and demand comes into play, then you have a cost of the leads going up. So as more solar companies are entering the market and more companies are trying to buy leads to drive their revenue and their sales, instead of just sending their reps out there and hoping they can find people, but instead buying leads and feeding their sales reps appointments or leads or calls, whatever that is, then you're going to have more competition. And we've seen over the years the cost per lead go up because more companies are fighting and trying to buy from the same providers who only have a limited number of leads they can sell. Then if we get into specific challenges just for solar installation companies on the competition side, so not marketing competition, just business competition, then we see challenges that come in terms of market share. And you can see here on the right, so there's the Energy Sage study on the solar installer survey. It was 2018 results. And you can see here that pretty much most people feel that were surveyed in the industry that there's going to be more solar installers over time. So it's going to keep increasing the business. 60% felt that way. 29% felt that there was actually going to be fewer, and 12% felt there's going to be less. Now, in this time here, as long as there's the investment tax credit and those benefits to the consumer, to the homeowner for installing solar, more people are going to jump on the solar industry as much as possible to make money while they can before things change. And so in our opinion, and what we've seen, is the number of installers, the number of solar sales companies just continues to increase over time. And then you see the second chart there, also from the Energy Sage survey on the right, is that the percentage of small versus large installers. So 36% of the people surveyed felt that larger national solar installers will gain market share. So the larger ones are going to keep getting larger. The smaller ones are actually just going to keep getting smaller and losing market share and losing out. 41% felt that the smaller local ones are actually going to gain over the large ones, and 23% there wasn't going to be any change. So depending on your market, so this can change a lot, whether you're in Southern California or you're in Idaho, you're in Florida, you're in upstate New York. All of those can affect you, whether it's going to be small installers or large installers winning in that marketplace. And so you know best for your market, but generally it seems like the larger ones are getting larger, the smaller ones are going to keep getting smaller, and so that's going to affect market share and competition. And then we have the investment tax credit itself. And so what are the changes? Obviously, there's the federal one, which is set to draw down over the next few years, potentially down to zero. There's state ones that are affecting. One of the challenges is that as you're selling solar, one of the biggest benefits is the numbers. It's the return on investment for your homeowners, for your buyers. And so when you're doing that math, as long as there's the ITC in place, then it's easier to show a benefit, especially in a shorter amount of time, whether that's 10, 15, 20 years, whatever that looks like for that homeowner. But as that tax credit goes down, the competition is going to get more fierce. It's going to get harder to sell, which means you're still going to be able to sell. It's just going to take more appointments. It's going to take more at bats. It's going to take buying more leads or knocking on more doors or doing more canvassing in order to get the same number of deals done, because the math is going to be harder. So it's going to be a little bit more difficult to find that person where the numbers make sense. Next, let's talk about this in the survey. So the top 5 strategies to gain market share. So you want to gain market share. You want to get bigger. You're a smaller installer, maybe, or medium size. You're trying to gain. Here's what you can do. Here's the top ranked ones from that survey that companies say they do, which is increased marketing and advertising spend, leveraging new marketing and sales channels, increase geographic presence, enter new markets, hire more direct salespeople, and hire more installation crews. Now, here's the challenge with all of this that we've seen. These are great strategies if you have the money, if you have the funding, if you want to gain that market share, you're going to increase this. However, the challenge is that we all know as business people is that the more you spend towards these things, the more you put into marketing and increase that advertising spend, you're not necessarily going to get more efficient sales. You're just going to potentially get more sales, or maybe not, but you're going to have some sunk costs now, which are going to be investments, but it's going to mean that you're going to have lower margins per sale. So I've actually seen it where companies actually do more sales, they put more into marketing, but those sales are actually less profitable than if they did less sales because they're putting so much into it, but it's not efficient. Their salespeople aren't actually closing a higher percentage, they're just closing a higher number, and those sales still aren't good deals. There's not high margin. And then the second part, right? So one part is you want to gain market share. The other part is you want to gain gross margin. The way to gain gross margin, which is a different conversation, is to target customers with higher opportunity for profitability, improve and increase on your sales process. So making your sales reps more efficient, more training, more expertise, having them convert more, having a system in place for lead generation, lead follow-up, referrals, use more cost-effective marketing and strategies, focus efforts on more profitable geographic areas. So we all know that there's certain areas, certain neighborhoods, certain populations and demographics that are going to be more profitable. They're less price sensitive. They're okay with paying a little more. They understand the value versus the lowest price. And obviously, the best way to gain market share or gain gross margin is to increase prices, but it's also tough to do the left side, which is gain market share and gain gross margin, because it's tough to increase prices as you want to cover a bigger footprint and gain more. So you kind of have to make a decision on which one. Most companies by default in solar that we see end up losing in the gross margin category because they're just trying to do more sales. So they're not necessarily doing more profitable sales. They're having to do whatever it takes to get sales done, but they're just not, it's not efficient. It's not a high margin deal. They're just closing more sales. Now, let's talk about the ultimate strategy. So those are all the challenges that you have in business. And then what is the solution? Well, obviously, we are focused on referrals. So after years and years of dealing with, like I said, hundreds and hundreds of solar companies and companies in other industries, we deal with companies all over in many industries who are focused on referrals and want to leverage our platform and our knowledge for that. But here's the things that we know is referrals close at 50 to 70%, right? 91%, and this one's a scary thing if you're a business owner. 91% of customers say that they would be willing to send a referral, but only 11% of salespeople ever ask, which means there's gold there, but the salespeople aren't asking for that, aren't looking for that gold, and it's just sitting there and it's going to waste. Another 91% of consumers are willing to refer after a positive experience. So they liked your company, they liked your brand, yet only 29% of them do. In my experience, for years in many different industries, it's usually just because they're not asked. Again, the salesperson's not asking, the company's not asking, somebody had a great experience, and if you just asked or you surveyed or you sent something to them or you asked for a positive experience, a testimonial or a referral, then they would. Just most people aren't asked. And then companies who have a formalized referral program experience 86% more revenue growth over a 2-year period. And again, this is not just us talking. This is a Heinz marketing survey that was done where referrals can increase that revenue growth. And when we're talking about solar and the margin challenge challenges that happen. You want to increase your margin, but then you also have to deal with 2, 3, 4 competitive bids for that client. So you can't necessarily get the margin you want. Well, one way to do that is through referrals. Referrals are a great way to overcome a lot of those things that I talked about in the last few slides with the challenges, because referrals can even all of that out. Referrals are a great way to increase your margin and charge the margin that you need, because you have a relationship built on trust, such that hopefully you're that one bid for their solar, right, that they're shopping, and not competing against others. And when you're the solo bid, because it's a referral from somebody they knew who had a great experience with you, and you asked, and you have a system that's designed to get that from them, to yield them sending you a referral, to walk them through a process of where they're thinking about your company and they want to tell people about you, and they share the experience with others, then you're going to have a more profitable business, not just in sales volume, but also in margin, in revenue, in profit. Now, when we're talking about building a referral machine, let's talk about the parts. Of course, this is the business that we're in, so we'll talk about our app here in a minute. But just in general, these are the steps that you want to do if you want to build a referral machine, which is what all of this is about, right? So how do we overcome those challenges that I discussed that you already know? Like, you already know these things about your business and what the challenges are and the things that you struggle with, or that your team struggles with, or how do you grow, or how do you compete? And so let's talk about building a referral machine. The first thing is you got to create advocates. So you've got to take your clients, so people you sell solar to, and then you've got to turn them into advocates, where now they're kind of, think about a mini army of salespeople who are out there. And again, this doesn't have to be the people you sold solar to. It could also be family, friends, contacts. One of the things is it's always important to do is, once you build a referral machine, a system, a platform, whatever that looks like for you, is that you can also take everybody that you've done business with in the past, you sold solar to, they're happy with you, they like you, you can put them in there. You know, you want to seed that farm, seed that land with your previous customers, put them in there as advocates, and then start doing it. It's never too late. It's never too late to go back to people who you sold solar to 2 years ago or 5 years ago and say, hey, by the way, we have a new referral program. Here's what we do. Here's what we pay out. I would like to have, send you messages. And so we're going to put you into the system, and I would like to just stay in touch with you, right? That's never too late. If they bought from you, they're happy from you, you did a good job. If you're a valuable part of what they're doing now as the homeowner with their solar, then there shouldn't be any issue. I have seen some companies that struggle with this and are concerned. So my tip, generally based on experience, is that if you're not sure if people liked you or were happy, or maybe it was a salesperson and you weren't sure what they did, because obviously you as an owner, you're not in the home, so you don't know what's exactly being said. So you're hoping your salespeople are doing it right, but you're never sure. One thing I always recommend is do a survey. You can go on SurveyMonkey. You could do a free survey, email that to all your past clients, and just ask them. Do a survey. Ask them to rate you and your service, how they feel about you. Would they be interested? Would they refer you to other people? Hit them up with a survey. If everyone says no, you can call them and follow up with them, or just remove them from your database. Take everyone who said yes, and then seed that into your advocate database and move forward. So that way, it's clean, and you're not asking people for referrals when maybe they're not happy with you, right? Maybe something went sideways, or there's just some people who are just never happy. And so maybe not even your fault. So the next step here, we got the advocates in the system. Next is you want to do nurture and notifications, right? So you want to stay in touch with them. And this is important. So whatever your system is, you want to be providing them value. You want to stay in front of them, and you want to make sure they always think about you in the event that somebody comes along that needs solar. So what is that? You could give them value, articles, information, updates, notifications, any specials you have, especially if it's coming to referrals. It's like, hey, this month we're paying out this much for referrals. So if you send to somebody, it's just little things. And obviously there's a balance with this, because we all know that we have emails that we've signed up for, newsletters, apps that we have on our phones that have notifications, where it's just too much. It's annoying, and it's constant, and it's a pain. And then you just want to unsubscribe. And then there's other ones that could send you a lot of notifications, but you like it and it's valuable and you're okay with that. And then there's ones where it's right in the middle, and it's a balance, and it's a nice check-in, right? Like from a family member who you like hearing from every once in a while, but not all the time. And then it's a nice pace. Then those should turn into referrals. So obviously you got the advocate, you're staying in touch with, top of mind. They're out and about. Somebody comes over to their house, says, hey, where'd you get your solar done? Who installed that for you? And then they say, I've got a guy, right? I've got a company. I've got somebody who I deal with. And then you're generating referrals and they're sending you referrals. But the key is with any referral system that you build and put in place, and you can do this in spreadsheets and CRMs, you can do this in any way you want, but you want to be able to track those referrals. You need to track that Joe sent you Carol, and Carol is now a referral, and Carol is now talking to your sales rep, Bob, and then what is going on with Bob and Carol. So they did the in-home, they got the appointment, like is the contract signed, like are they moving forward? So what's going on with Carol? You've got to be able to track that all the way through the process and know what's being sent, what's being worked on by Bob and your other sales reps, and then also what's closing, so you can look at that closing percentage and see who's effective. And then obviously if that turns into a deal, you've got to be able to give a referral fee, if that's what you have set up, back to the referral source every time and be able to track it. And of course, you want that to be as automated as possible when you're doing it. And then lastly, you always need to have reporting, right? Like they say, what isn't measured isn't managed. And if you're just throwing referrals at your sales reps or hoping that referrals are coming in and that somebody is just calling your sales rep's cell phone, giving them referrals, and your sales reps are just doing the right thing, if that's what you're hoping for and you're not tracking it and you're not reporting on it, then you have no idea what's going on and you're not in control of this process. That's not a system. That's not a machine. So what you need is reporting, and you really need to see is Bob doing well? Is Kevin doing well? How is Sue doing? You know, if they each had 10 referrals, which ones are they following up with? Which ones are they closing? Who's effective? You know, if Bob is just killing it, Bob's closing 50% of his referrals, then what is Bob doing? And how do you replicate that with other sales reps? That's the key, right? So who's doing really well? What are they doing? What are they saying? What's their process? And then how do you replicate that? How do you build that into the system so that everyone's doing it, so you're getting better results and it's easier and everyone is winning? So that's the basics of any referral machine. And again, we've seen people build this with spreadsheets in their CRM, in Outlook, in all different ways. The key is making it as automated as possible, as functional as possible with the tracking and with the reporting. And so it's the least manually intensive way possible. And it's happening every single time like it should. All right, next what I want to do for the rest of this webinar is I want to show you the Get the Referral app. Now, part of this obviously is to talk about what we do and show you what we've built and how it can benefit you, especially as a SunPower dealer, in how this can be for your business. And then we'll talk at the end about the SunPower program and how we've partnered up with them and really value you as a dealer. Whether it's this app or you're looking at it for ideas on what you're doing, I think it's still important to go through all these, but of course, this is what we've built in naturally. Now, the first thing is that this program was originally built as a web app and then became an app. And so it's available in iTunes, it's available in the Android store, and it's also a web app. So again, we have a lot of companies, because we've been doing this for a long time, and Jamie's always listening to what our customers or our prospects are asking about. And so we still have the web app. Everything you can do in the general app, you can do in the web app. And so both of those are available. And so it's really easy. You just download it with the brand and it's there. All right, so when people load it up, I'm going to go through this from the advocate side. So your advocate, your client, which again could be your client, or it could be someone that your salesperson meets at a barbecue and then says, hey, what do you do? I do solar. Hey, let me add you as an advocate. When the advocate downloads the app and pulls it up, the first thing they're going to see is the stats on what they've got for the money they've earned, where their referrals are at, what percentage they're in each category, and then it's very easy for them to add a referral. That guy in the middle with the plus sign, they can click on that, or they can click on the menu in the upper left and then see all the options there on what they can do from adding referrals. And I'm going to go through all these things, but super simple. Fundamentally, this is a referral app, so we've made it very simple for them to easily send you referrals. I'm going to show you what else we built into the app to make it way more than just a referral app. So here it is for adding referrals. Super easy. They click on the plus sign, add a referral. They select the product that you offer, and this can all be customized based on what you do. They fill in some information there for adding the referral, import the contact, successfully added, boom, that's it. And then now they can see their referral history, which shows where each of their referrals are as they go. So unverified, verified, sold, and closed. A lot of our customers want to do verified referrals, which means somebody who, let's say for solar, has successfully made it for an appointment that was set for an in-home visit. And so a lot of times too, our clients want a reward for that. So maybe it's $25 or $50 that they'll give to the advocate for a verified referral. And so that's totally up to you, whether you want to do that or not, how much you want to give, what stage that comes in. It's totally up to you, and we can customize that for your specific business. Next, we have the advocator wallet. So one part of referrals and generating referrals is that you want to incentivize them if you can. So not everyone's going to go for that, but most people say they would like incentives or they would respond to incentives for referring, right? And so obviously you got to know your market demographic, how much they're going to want, who's going to want it. We deal with some companies where like my customers don't like it, but they still want to send referrals. For others, they love this feature, and it's so simple because a lot of solar companies are already rewarding for referrals, but what they're doing is they're mailing out checks or they're mailing out gift cards or they're doing something like that. And that manual process is both tedious and painful, but then also tough to track and can cause some issues. I didn't get the check. I didn't get the gift card. Can you resend it to me? And then this becomes this admin hassle. Instead, what we've done is built in the app a thing called the advocator wallet. And so what that means is your advocate, your referral source, has a wallet that they can sign up for. It's just easy. They just put in some basic information. It's part of the app, and then you pay them directly through that. And at the end of this, I'm going to show you the admin side so you can see that what your backend looks like, but literally they would get a notification, $25, maybe that's for your verified referral. And then you can see they can transfer to their bank, they can buy digital gift cards, they can send it to pay themselves via PayPal, or they can buy prepaid virtual debit cards. And then you can see there on the right side, like all the kind of digital gift cards they can buy. And so it's very easy. It's very easy for you to send it to them. Instantly it's available, and then instantly they can transfer it, send it to wherever they want, go through that process. It's way easier than the normal manual way to go. All right, next, a lot of our companies like the ability to have their customers write a review, right? 72% of customers say that positive reviews make them trust a local business more, right? If there's anything that's going to be second place to referrals, it's online testimonials and positive reviews or negative reviews that are going to affect your business. Now, here's the thing to keep in mind. Some companies we deal with, customers don't want to have a review place on there. It's up to you. So these features we can turn off or on within the app. So if you like reviews or you have a good review base and that's important to you, we can do this. If not, we can turn this off. And then each one of these is customizable based on where you want reviews left for your business. We can hide or enable any of these that you want, but it's really great way for your customers. You get them on the app and then you send them a notification, ask them to write a review. It's all done through the app. It's instant, it's easy, and then you're collecting those reviews, which again, referrals plus reviews, amazing. Like if you've got both of those going in your favor, then it's a home run. Next, we've got in-app messaging. So what's great about this is it's a two-way communication that you and your advocates can have. So let's say they're customers or they could be the referrals themselves. You can chat back and forth with them. They can send you messages through the app. And this is great because a lot of times they don't know who to text. Nobody likes calling anybody anymore. They'd rather just send a quick message. If they can do it through the app, it's great. They can follow up. The nice thing is that these messages will go into your admin platform, and a part of the Get the Referral app is on the admin backside is that you've got the ability to send messages from the corporate end. It doesn't have to be just the salesperson. So one of the problems we talked about is that if you leave it up to the salespeople, they may not respond. They may not respond in time. You don't know what they're going to say. You're not controlling the quality. You have no idea. But what you can do, and with Get the Referral, you'll have unlimited admin access from the back end, which means if you have an office assistant, a marketing assistant, your manager, yourself, whatever that is, you can message back and forth and control that with everybody. And you can have this nice communication, and it's all tracked, and you've got a record of all of it, which is great. So you can always see what's going on with you and your advocates at any time. And then there's social sharing. So this one is huge for a lot of people. So imagine I just got my solar installed. I love the company that did it. I'm so thankful. They did a great job. Now I've got this connected to my social accounts. Let's say Facebook. You can see all the other options on there. And literally I can share my referral form. So maybe I want to talk about how great it was that my solar was done, and I want to share this because I know that you, the company, is going to pay me if I generate some referrals. So now let's say I have 600 or 2,000 friends on Facebook. I can share my referral form, and you can see there from the middle picture, it says click here to be contacted. That's a customized form, a customized link that will track everything back to that advocate. So for this case here, let's say Phil is the advocate. He posted on his Facebook, 2,000 friends, 10 of them fill out the form. He's going to get credit for that. It's going to count as a referral from him, and it's going to go to the company. So instead of like, hey, where did this referral come from? Who is this person? What's going on? With the referral, and then your company not necessarily knowing what's going on, then now you have it all tracked. Now there's a link, there's a form, it's all within the system, which is great because I've seen a lot of people try to do referral platforms or systems, and literally you have no idea where the referral came from, where it went to, and what's going on. And so you can see here how easy it is for them to do that. All right, then we've added some other things in here to make it a bit more of an app than just a referral app. And so we've got the website, so we can embed your website in it, any URL you want, so they can go to your website from here. Any documents you want to send or store for them, you can put documents in there, whether it's regarding their solar or anything else, you can put those in there in their storage. And here's the last thing, and here's what solar companies love, and this is where over the years and what we've learned and what Jamie's really focused on is the fact that if I have you install a solar referral app on your phone, you might do it because you like me, but are you gonna really use it? Probably not. You're probably gonna take it off your homepage, because if you're the kind of person who's gonna send referrals, you're gonna do that anyway, and you don't necessarily need an app because you're that kind of person who's gonna hand out my business card, right? That 10 or 20%. Now, what we've done though instead is we've made this a customer app. So you've noticed all these things, from the messaging to the sharing, to the document storage, to all of that is designed to make this a customer app first. So this monitoring is a huge part of it. We wanted to make an app that you could have your customers install and put on their phone, on their mobile device, or use on the website, where they want to check it constantly. If we give them reasons to check it constantly, they're thinking about your company constantly, and they're thinking about you when those instances come up where somebody asks about solar and wants a referral from them, and now all of a sudden your company is top of mind. And so monitoring is huge for that, because people who get solar installed, most of them want to check it, see the stats, see what's going on, the usage, what's created. And so we can take anything and render it in there. If it's URL based, then if it's like if it's a website address, we can take it and do the monitoring. You can see some here, and so we can hide some, we can remove some, whatever we want to do. We can put anything that you're using for your monitoring, put it in the system. They log into it once through the app, and they can use the app to go to your monitoring all the time, and that's going to keep it in front of mind. We talk to so many solar companies who literally just want the app for this, because they know this is a great tool and worth the price for their customers on its own as a value add on top of the solar, but just even this, and then they know that will also lead to referrals. So everything else is a benefit, but we have some companies who literally just want it for the monitoring as an app for their customers. Now, here's something new that we added. We added a project status update, a project management tool in here. And so what does that mean? Well, you're going to have a solar project that is in many different layers. And here's the challenge with a referral app, just being honest, right? The challenge is that if I do a point of sale. So I have you sign the contract, I'm in your house, and then I say, hey, I want you to download this referral app. You're gonna be like, well, you haven't even done any work yet, so why would I send you referrals? And then I could say, well, it's for monitoring. And then you say, well, when I install the panels, then I'll want to do the monitoring. What we wanted to do was give your salespeople a reason to have your customers install the app from the beginning, from the very moment they agree to move forward with your company. And the best way to do that was to track the project. So the first thing that's going to happen is the installation project. Once it's installed, they're going to use the monitoring, and then it's off to the races. So what we've done is we have an additional module that you can purchase if you want, that's on a subscription basis, where it's going through the project stages, and so you can update it. And it's a two-way communication with your CRM, and so you can update things on your side, which will push messages, notifications, and updates to your customers, where they can track this. So instead of phone calls or emails or having to update them, you can keep them updated throughout the installation project, and you can customize this based on your stages. We can set this up however you want, as many stages as you'd like to build out. We usually do up to 9. That's what makes most sense for companies, but that is an option, and so we can do that. And again, the point of this is not, part of it is the update and part of it is the value add to them, but part of it is also giving your company a reason to get your customers to install the app from the very beginning, and then make that a part of the whole solar experience with your company. Now, like I said earlier, there is a web app version. So we deal with a lot of companies who say, well, my clientele is older. They're older homeowners. They're not necessarily on mobile apps, and that's not what they're using, and they don't want to install another app. Well, the nice thing is we still have the web version, and the web version literally has everything in it that you would expect from the app. It's all the same. So whether someone wants to do that on their home computer, or they want to check this stuff at work, there's a web version which comes as well. It's already included. Now, I want to fly through with the rest of the time here the admin sales backend. This will be pretty quick. So we can see here, this is what it looks like. And again, it's all about managing the process, the numbers, the data, and tracking it like you would with any reporting for your business. That's what takes just hopefully getting referrals. And I don't know what happened to the referral, to a referral system, a machine that's now running and feeding your business through referrals. And so we can see here, one of the keys is a dashboard. And I'm not going to go through all these things. So you can see all the list of menu options on the left, but you can see that there's a dashboard where you can see the referrals, see what's going on, see the different status, and see what's going on with each of those. And then here, I'm not going to go through much, but you can see the push notification. So you're sending the messages from your backend, and then you can see the notification history that your client's going to have. And again, push notifications are great. So you can send those notifications whenever you want. That's a one-way communication. Just keep in mind, obviously we know everyone's going to read the push notifications, but you want to make sure you don't send too many too often, or it's just going to be annoying and people are going to tune you out. And then, like I said, with the Advocator Pay wallet, you can do that through here. It's very easy. And again, you're tracking it, you're sending it, you're not mailing out checks or cards. The other nice thing is, because this is done as a digital payment and a digital wallet, then normal 1099 rules are, is if you pay out over $600 to somebody in a year, you have to send them a 1099, which can be messy. You've got to collect their information. Because this is a digital transaction, that benchmark is actually a 1099K, which is $20,000 in referral payments and 200 payments in a year, right? So you have to hit both of those benchmarks. And the nice thing is because of who we use for our digital payment backend, if somebody were to hit that, if you were to pay them, a referral advocate, that much, they will actually take care of that process. So you don't have to, and you can just keep nurturing that referral superstar you have, because they're obviously generating you a lot of business. Now, we all know that referrals are important, right? So for us, we have worked with a lot of companies over time. So 35% of the top 50 solar contractors in the top solar list from 2019 are GTR customers. And those 35% that we work with constantly, they have generated over $200 million in revenue from referrals. So based on the deal size and what they tell us and what they share and what we can track through the app, they're generating a lot of deals. And one of our top solar companies actually generates over 600 referrals a month. Now, sometimes we tell people that and they feel overwhelmed and they wouldn't know what to do with 600, but it's all relative. It's all relative to your business, how much effort you put into it, and then what you can do with those, right? So just keep in mind that you want to generate the number of referrals for your business, and hopefully offset those challenges, offset the struggles in the market, competition, margin cutting, price, what's going to happen with the ITC, your sales reps inconsistencies, you getting away from buying leads, anything you can do long term, you want to focus on with the referrals. Now let's talk about our SunPower partnership benefits. So we have partnered up with SunPower, as you know, with the Refer SunPower app, and we love our relationship with SunPower. It's been amazing over the years, and we've helped so many solar companies that are SunPower dealers get set up with GTR and move forward. It's a great deal. So one of the things is that we have the monthly subscription or referral fees that can be 100% reimbursed through your DPF, right? So through those funds that you have, you can have them reimbursed. So if you have those dealer funds available, you can actually get reimbursed for the price of the app. We've also negotiated special pricing with SunPower for all of the dealers. And when you contact us, we can talk about that, but there's special pricing and then also some fees that have been waived. And so you're getting a really good deal because of our relationship with SunPower that literally is not available to anyone else. You also, through the app, you get the solar monitoring rendered within the app. So no need for two separate apps. The communication tools, so the direct messaging, push notification and email templates I showed you, the social sharing, the writing of reviews, the advocator pace that's included in the app, the CRM integration, so whether it's a one-way or a two-way integration, which we can talk about at a separate time with the messages going back and forth, your referral web page, which can be embedded in your website. So when people go to your website and your URL online, they can see a referral web page, which then drives them to you, to the app, to generate referrals. And then again, the app is available on iOS and Android, so that's in many of the places where you can get that, so your customers can find it wherever they want. Now, if you want more information, you can go to the URL there. There will be a link as well in the follow-up. We have a special SunPower page set up where you can fill out the information, request a demo. It's a lot of the same information that I've covered here, but you can see how it works, get special pricing, see what that looks like for SunPower, and then be able to move forward and hopefully have this tool, right? Get the referral to generate referrals for your business.